A very interesting question has been given to me to talk about independence in marketing. I think it's a topic that made me rethink a lot of things that we've been doing over the years, and especially as a marketer, what does it mean to me? I'll take a step back to just reiterate what is independence and perhaps what is freedom. So, if I have to put it the right way, independence is doing any work independently without depending on anybody. Whereas freedom is something probably which has a larger boundary without rules. So, therefore, if I have to exemplify it, the age old example, like riding a bicycle independently is independence, and taking it out around the park or in the city is freedom. So when it comes to me, I think the approach to my work is I always question the fact that is this project or is this work in this work, how much of independence or how much of freedom do I get? And nevertheless, to mention in this world, 100% freedom and independence is not there in anything. But the percentage definitely matters. Why it matters? Because the percentage of independence or freedom that you get in a project or the work that you do is directly connected to the emotional investment that you have in that project. So, therefore, it does matter to a very large extent. So, if there is a project or there is my work which comes with a certain amount of independence and freedom, a percentage of it which is likely works in my favor, and the mind space is ready to absorb a lot many things without a lot of external interference, the emotional investment and the time, the energy that you give to that project is much higher. So I look at it always from that perspective. So that is what freedom and independence in work means to me, in my domain, in marketing domain means to me. Having said that, the relevancy of that, like how do we nurture such kind of a feeling, independent thinkers in marketing, marketers, independently thinking marketers? I'll try to contextualize that to the current scenario. I think we all have been hearing that data is the new oil. It's the biggest asset of of any company. That, and of course, it is. The data needs to be democratized to the masses in order to understand it. And in that process, what is important is to have data literacy in order to nurture independent thinkers in marketing discipline. I think what is important is to make them understand the difference between observations and insights. The whole discipline of marketing is based on understanding a consumer insight and developing your strategies around it. So if we have better clarity of understanding what is an observation and what is a insight, then I think we can develop better thinking marketers. Now, how can we do that? As I was saying that data is the new oil. It's the biggest asset for an organization. But just by having data and seeing trend lines and all is not enough. We need to democratize it to a larger mass in order to extract the insight out of it. And that is when you need to have data literacy. Now, if I have to now tell you how does this work, let's have this pattern of DIKW. Okay. What is DIKW? The two parts of D and I can be easily put across as observation, and K and W as the insight. What does D and I stands for? So the definition of observation is basically any kind of actions that you're observing. So it's data information that you observe. So you see that there is a trend of people buying something of this sort or people behaving in this manner, and it's a mere observation. The moment it comes to knowledge, D stands for data, I stands for information. Now the K and W stands for knowledge and wisdom. Now when it comes to insight, what you need to understand is insight is a step beyond that. Why? You have to have the observations, and in terms of your knowledge starts from adding your own personal experiences and belief. into that observation and bringing out something that can give you a deeper understanding of what triggered somebody to enact in a certain manner, followed by wisdom, which is basically the experience. So if you are able to have a very distinct way of understanding that what I'm observing right now is a particular action. So that is my observation. A is buying so much, B is buying so much. Okay, the trend line is going up and down and it is going down. So it's like reading. Now, how do I process that into an insight? The insight, when it needs to be processed, it needs to be layered up with knowledge and wisdom, which comes from your your personal experiences, what kind of personal beliefs and values that you have seen, your own wisdom as to some intuitiveness, some experiences that you have gathered. Now, when then this framework of DIKW, where an observation slowly translates into an insight, is actually the what we call as data literacy. And then you get into something which gives you a real insight into developing a strategy around it. So to nurture better independent thinkers, you need to actually take them through this process or make them understand the difference between observations and insights, and ask them, because obviously everything as a marketer today, all we hear is a lot of data that is coming to us, and they are supposed to be assets we are supposed to follow, there is trends and all of this. So there are a lot of information. Now, how to take that information and evolve it with your own knowledge and wisdom and read the data, which is basically you make yourself data literate, and then take it back and start putting your strategy around it. I think that will help us to develop much more independent and better thinkers in terms of better thinking marketers. So that's the crux of the matter. I feel that uh, so I look at the entire process in this manner, wherein I feel that if you want to get working on a project, or your current job, or from a day-to-day life, in your current job there will be landmark projects that you do and work that you do. You need to question yourself on the, at least I do that personally, that what percentage of independence and freedom that I have. And therefore, that also determines to a large extent as to the involvement that I have with it and how emotionally I can get into it. And what about the people who are working around me? How do I ensure that they start thinking independently? That I think I follow this process of always trying and inducing and giving an idea around that. Okay, let's observe, let's take all the data that is coming to us because we want to make an effective campaign. But then let's not leave it at that. Let's take it through the process of developing it into an insight. Let's become data literate so that the insight can further help us to think in a better way, in an independent way, and not falling prey to the random information and observations that come to us. And I think that way we can build independent thinkers, and that's what independence means to me as a marketer.